Picture this: the comforting ambience of a kitchen bustling with energy, the wafting aromas of simmering meals dancing through the air, and the dinner table set with care. You can hear the clinking of silverware as families gather, laughter echoing off the walls. These were the sights and sounds of the 1950s, a time when wholesome meals were a heartwarming ritual, steeped in tradition and a wholesome simplicity. Yet, as we reminisce about those vibrant dinners, it's hard not to notice a few dishes that have vanished from our tables. Today, let's take a nostalgic stroll down memory lane to revisit 7 foods from the 1950s dinner table that we rarely see anymore. At number 7, we kick off with gelatin salads. Now, you remember those colorful concoctions adorned with vegetables, fruits, or even shrimp nestled within shimmering gelatin. They were a staple of any gathering, a parade of colors that drew the eye and the taste buds alike. You'd find an array of these at potlucks, lovingly molded to perfection, adorned with pimentos or whole olives for that extra flair. The wobbly texture, glistening under the warm kitchen lights, signaled a promise of delight. Yet, as our tastes evolved toward fresher, simpler fare, these gelatin salads slipped quietly into obscurity. We gravitated towards crisp greens, and the more complex flavors we savored no longer paired with the playful nature of gelatin. Was it the simplicity that we outgrew, or was it something deeper? Perhaps the rise of farm-to-table made us yearn for connection to our food's origins, leaving cold, wiggly salads to fade into memory. Coming in at number 6, we reflect on liver and onions night, a classic dish that often inspired the strongest of feelings. Can you hear the sizzle in the pan? The smell of onions caramelizing, mingling with the rich, hearty aroma of liver? For many families, this was a beloved meal, served alongside buttery mashed potatoes and maybe a side of green beans. Of course, liver was celebrated for its affordability and nutrition, essentially being a superfood of its day. However, as tastes shifted and our understanding of health evolved, liver found itself on the chopping block. It became less appealing in a world that shifted toward leaner proteins and a more varied diet. It's almost striking how a dish once so ubiquitous now drifts in the recesses of our culinary memory. Do you remember how your family prepared it? What flavors burst forth at the dinner table? At number 5, we gaze upon the once revolutionary hero of the 50s, the TV dinner. The sheer novelty of those aluminum trays filled with swirls of mashed potatoes, a meatloaf square, and perhaps a dessert lurking in the corner. The frantic hustle of family life found relief in the convenience of pre-prepared dinners. Often savored while catching the latest episodes of your favorite shows, TV dinners encapsulated the era's embrace of modernity and the ever-busy lifestyle. But while they marked a shift towards convenience, they increasingly drew ire for their lack of freshness and variety. As more families began to prioritize home-cooked meals brimming with vegetables and whole grains, the trusty TV dinner lost its spot on the center stage of our late-night dinners. It quietly withdrew, making room for healthier, homemade meals, but it surely left us with nostalgia for those evenings where we didn't even need to set the table. As we warm up to number 4, we remember cream-chipped beef on toast, commonly known as SOS, a comforting dish often associated with military breakfasts, but making its way into many American homes. The combination of savory dried beef cooked in a rich, velvety cream sauce, lovingly ladled over toast, was perfect for hearty breakfasts or easy dinners. It was the kind of meal where satisfaction lay not merely in the taste, but in its simplicity and comfort, with every bite echoing warmth and familiarity. Yet, over time, as the culinary landscape transformed, the appeal of processed ingredients led us to explore fresher alternatives. We shifted towards lighter, more vibrant meals that didn't carry the weight of nostalgia, leaving SOS lost among the recipes of the past. Can you recall how your mom or grandma made this classic? It seems like a true embrace of love. Next up, at number 3, let's not forget the canned fruit cocktail dessert. With its mix of peaches, pears, cherries, and grapes floating in sugary syrup, this brightly colored delight was a frequent end to many family dinners. The sweet orb of nostalgia brought back memories of summer picnics and festive celebrations. Often garnished with a dollop of whipped cream, it was a favorite among children and adults alike, a treat that felt like a slice of sunshine on a plate. But dietary trends soon slanted away from canned foods, especially those swamped in syrup. People began to gravitate towards fresh, seasonal fruits, and with that change, the canned fruit cocktail slipped quietly off the grocery store shelf, taking with it a sprinkle of sweetness from our childhood dinners. As we arrive at number 2, we shine the spotlight on the perennial favorite, the tuna noodle casserole with the potato chip topping. This dish was a miracle of comfort food, swirling creamy tuna, egg noodles, and usually a can of cream of mushroom soup together, baked to bubbly perfection and crowned with crispy potato chips. It became a filling weeknight meal, at times drawing on pantry staples, each dish infused with love and care during busy evenings. But as culinary institutions shifted toward wholesome dining, many families began exploring new flavors and healthier compositions, bidding adieu to the casserole and celebrating fresher ingredients instead. The casserole, with its simpler, hearty embrace, faded, replaced by trendier, diverse dishes that reflected a more adventurous taste palette. Finally, we come to our number 1 dish, a place on the table that evokes the warmest memories, the Sunday pot roast. This was no ordinary meal. It was a tradition steeped in warmth and family togetherness. Imagine the slow-cooked aroma wafting through the house, the anticipation building as the day wore on. Each pot roast was lovingly seasoned with potatoes, carrots, and onions, allowing every flavor to meld beautifully over hours of gentle simmering. Sundays were special days, marked by the ritual of preparing this treasure that brought everyone around the dinner table, sharing stories and laughter. As time shifted and Sundays morphed into busy family days filled with sports games or other commitments, the elaborate preparation once required quietly fell out of favor. We sought quicker solutions and diversified our culinary palates, replacing this cherished tradition with faster alternatives, sometimes missing the rich connections it fostered. And there we have it, dear friends, a nostalgic journey through 7 beloved but forgotten dishes that once held a cherished place on the American dinner table. They were more than just meals. They represented a simpler time, connecting us with flavors and traditions that shaped our childhoods. Is there one dish that evokes a particularly vivid memory for you? What meals warmed your family's table during those cherished moments? Share your stories in the comments as we continue to celebrate the comforting embrace of nostalgia together. Let's dive a little deeper into these culinary treasures of the past and explore not just the dishes themselves, but the memories and moments they sparked in our lives. Food, after all, is profoundly tied to our experiences. It carries with it the power of memory and nostalgia, and the stories we weave around them linger long after the last bite has been savored. From the vibrant gelatin salads of gatherings, we remember how those wobbly dishes were often the centerpiece at potlucks or family reunions, wouldn't you agree? The presentation was as much about the show as it was the taste. Picture your aunt or grandmother carefully arranging ingredients, sometimes with a certain flair that only they possessed. Watch closely, they might tease. It's all in the mold. They'd prepare these gelatin wonders, sometimes infused with colorful fruits or zesty vegetables such as grated carrots and celery, and carefully unveil them with a flourish. The giggles and silly faces as someone would take a brave spoonful would set off waves of laughter at the table. Often, the gelatin salad was the perfect platform for family anecdotes and stories, and those moments of joy became part of its charm. But with the rise of fresh ingredients, these lively dishes became a thing of the past, echoing down the hallways of memory but no longer gracing our tables. As we move to liver and onions night, can you remember the way that dish divided families? For some, it was a beloved tradition. For others, it was met with a frown at dinner time. Imagine the kitchen buzzing, the savory scent of caramelizing onions rising up to greet you as you walked through the door. That was a sign that dinner was not too far off. It seems like those quiet meals often led not just to discussions of the day, but to the forging of bonds, each forkful of that rich liver layered with gravy heightening those moments shared. On Sundays, if you were lucky, liver and onions might be an elaborate part of a double-header meal, where leftovers transformed into sandwiches for Monday's lunch. Yet, over the years, tastes shifted toward the lean and bright. Left behind for more palatable choices, Liver retreated into nostalgia for many, a memory held gently in the hearts of those who still recall its warm embrace. And who can forget about the era of the TV dinner? These culinary marvels signified a massive leap into modernity. It was almost like magic. Just pop a tray into the oven or the microwave and voila, dinner is served. Sometimes they were paired with the soothing sound of a favorite sitcom playing in the background, laughter interspersed with the clinking of aluminum. Families may have gathered in front of the television, balancing trays on their laps, embarking on collective laughter watching iconic shows together. Who remembers the golden crisp of those initial swirls of mashed potatoes? Yet, as we recognize the importance of nourishing meals, those pre-prepared dinners shifted to relics of a bygone era. The sound of a microwave beeping faded into discussions around fresh, wholesome ingredients, and suddenly, those aluminum trays, often embellished with bright packaging, felt outdated, if not forlorn. Let us also reminisce about creamed chipped beef on toast. While the name might elicit a chuckle today, there was a certain warmth in this simple dish that rallied many around the table. It took on many forms as it made its rounds at breakfasts and dinners alike. Some families altered the recipe with their unique twist. Perhaps they added a pinch of paprika or a touch of garlic. The result was invariably packed with flavor and nostalgia. As children, many would wait impatiently, tapping their feet against the floor while your mom finished that cream sauce, knowing how the warmth of the dish replicated the embrace of one's family. Over the years, we moved toward healthier choices and lighter fare, sending SOS to the back of our memories, but its place in those intimate family moments remains cherished in the hearts of many. Moving on to the delightful conclusion of dinner, the canned fruit cocktail dessert. Is there a specific occasion that springs to mind? Perhaps it was a birthday celebration or a holiday gathering when the family would set the table adorned with festive decorations, and there it was, a bowl of colorful fruit cocktail at the center, shining in its syrupy glow. The laughter of children, vying for the best pieces, the cherries of course. For so many, it stretched out evenings of tales and family stories into sweet moments. As children, those brightly colored fruits signaled happiness, and there was something truly satisfying about scooping it out with a shiny spoon, the syrup cascading over the sides with each generous scoop. Yet, as our understanding of nutrition evolved and fresh fruit became a household favorite, the sweet simplicity of canned fruit lost its seat at the table, slipping into the background of our culinary memories. Then we had the beloved tuna noodle casserole with potato chip topping. Oh, how it would please even the pickiest eater. Our memories float amidst swirls of creamy goodness, the crispy potato chips epitomizing the joy of indulgence. Picture those weeknights where everyone feasted on this dish, offering warmth and laughter in equal measure, while your family gathered around the table, amidst storytelling and shared experiences. So often, those cast-off ingredients became the stars of the meal. One could easily recall an occasion where perhaps a neighbor brought over a casserole dish, as if a heartfelt secret shared through that creamy mixture. It was a unique blend of taste and comfort, but as culinary exploration surged forward, allowing families to experiment with worldwide flavors, it became increasingly rare in our kitchens. Gone were the days of nostalgia, and with it, the casserole gently ebbed away into the past. Finally, we arrive back at the Sunday pot roast, the crown jewel of it all. Perhaps more than any other dish, it marked the perseverance of family traditions by being present during the most meaningful rituals, holidays, birthdays, or simply a day when everyone needed a reminder of home. The hours of preparation, basting the meat with rich broth as the aroma wafted through the house, bred anticipation of gathering around the table, each member contributing to the symphony of conversation. Remember the little rituals that preceded the feast, setting the table, perhaps folding cloth napkins with family members chatting lazily? Sundays demanded attention, and the patience required to prepare that pot roast mirrored the slowness that made it remarkable. Yet, as life sped up with busy schedules and a quickening pace, this once celebrated meal began to fade. The heartfelt connections formed around such gatherings gradually dissipated in the wake of hurried dinners and takeout. This journey down memory lane resonates so deeply because it navigates our collective histories, those meals forged from not only ingredients, but from love, laughter, and moments of connection. Each dish brings an emotive narrative, a repository of the everyday magic that intertwined with our lives. As we stand at this wistful crossroads of remembrance, it's not merely about what is missing, but rather the joy it brought us, how each of these meals created a moment that transcended the dinner table. Do you recall a dish that ignited your senses and sparked a memory? Perhaps there's a flavor that pulls you back in time, a cherished memory worth sharing. Join me in the comments as we reminisce over the meals that defined our tables and keep the spirit of cherished traditions alive. There, in the warmth of memory, the past dances with the present, and together we hold onto the sweet echoes of simpler times.